Now at 6 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, Victoria police face another leadership change. The chief resigning after just 2 years.
Your tax dollars for Texas infrastructure could be frozen. How the government shutdown may hit home.
Plus, the FBI searches for answers after an Iraq war veteran attacks a church in Michigan.
On the East Coast, we've got 2 tropical storms right off the coast. Which way are they going? We'll have that forecast for you coming up in a moment.
And who will be this week's game of the week here in week 6? I'll tell you that later on. Sports.
You're watching 25 News Now at 6. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Shauna Curry.
And I'm Don Brubaker.
A woman is in stable condition after a shooting in DeWitt County. DeWitt County deputies responded to the shooting near Highway 87 and Radio Road in Cuero late Saturday night. They found a woman with multiple gunshot wounds. Investigators say she was driving south on Highway 87 when another car pulled up and someone opened fire. That vehicle then took off, and so far there's no description. The sheriff is asking anyone with information to call the DeWitt County Sheriff's Office or Crime Stoppers. Tips can remain anonymous.
The Texas Rangers now are investigating a deadly officer-involved shooting in Wharton County. It happened Sunday night on County Road 255. Deputies say they were following up on a disturbance when they confronted 45-year-old Theodore Speaker. During that encounter, investigators say Speaker pulled a gun and pointed it at one of the deputies. That's when shots were fired by a deputy, killing Speaker. No deputies were hurt. The sheriff's office says the deputy who fired was placed on leave while the Texas Rangers lead the investigation.
Detectives say they have finally solved the 1991 yogurt shop murders in Austin. The community was devastated when 17-year-old Jennifer Harbison, her 15-year-old sister Sarah, 17-year-old Eliza Thomas, and 13-year-old Amy Ayers were killed inside the I Can't Believe It's yogurt shop. Police now link Robert Eugene Brashers to the crime through DNA and ballistics. Brashers, who died by suicide during a 1999 police standoff, was also tied to other violent attacks across the Southeast. Families of the victims say they are grateful for the closure after decades of uncertainty.
I would say it is likely there are other victims out there, whether it's murders or sexual assaults, because of what we know of him. When he was not in prison, he was committing heinous crimes. And last week, we knew of 3 murders. This week, we know of 8. So to say there's not a 9 or 10, I'm sure there are, and we will be working on that once, I guess, the dust settles with this part of our investigation here. Definitely want to reach out to other agencies that may have other links.
Investigators say DNA evidence links Brashers to a number of crimes in South Carolina, Georgia, and Kentucky.
The Bexar County Medical Examiner's Office identified a man whose skull was found outside of a San Antonio plumbing business. 30-year-old Austin Wyrosdick was identified as the victim. His cause and manner of death were not immediately available. On September 15th, an employee at a San Antonio plumbing business found the skull outside the building. That started a police investigation. Victoria's top police official is leaving. Police Chief Chuck Young announcing his resignation today.
25 News Now reporter Ray Mosley joins us with more. Ray?
Yes, Sean and Don. Chuck Young has been leading the Victoria Police Department since May of 2023, taking over for Roberto Arredondo. Before that, he served as deputy chief starting in 2021. Young has more than 44 years of law enforcement experience, starting his career with the Dallas Police Department, where he rose to the rank of major. Over his career, he's earned more than 250 awards and commendations, including Officer of the Year and 5 life-saving awards, one for rescuing a woman from a burning home. Last year, he also earned a master's degree in criminal justice from Lamar University. Young is the 3rd police chief in Victoria this decade. Chief Young's last day with the Victoria Police Department will be October 10th. No word for the reason on his resignation. Donna, Sean, back to you.
This brings us to tonight's viewer poll. What should the next Victoria Police Chief prioritize? And 47% of voters now say maintaining safety and law enforcement. 39% say that should be balanced equally with focusing on community relations. 4% say they're not they're unsure right now. They're not really sure where they feel that focus should be. We want to hear from you. Visit crossroadstoday.com/vote to let us know, and we'll have another look at the numbers tonight after Monday Night Football.
A major project in the Crossroads could be stopped by a government shutdown. Congressman Michael Cloud is pushing for more than $29 million in federal funds to maintain the Matagorda, Houston, and Corpus Christi ship channels. Those waterways move large amounts of crude oil and other energy products. But without a spending deal, that funding cannot be approved and the project would be delayed. In all, about $675 million in Texas community projects could be at risk. October is in 2 days. Maybe then we'll get a break from the heat. I'm just
there was a
hoping.
little bit of a break this morning. I was telling Mac earlier, it felt so nice outside. So are we going to continue seeing these mornings that are a little on the cool side, then warming up, Mac?
Yes, we've got good cool mornings, but the daytimes are going to be moving into the low 90s. I know you're waiting for the cool weather, but it's October this week, so we're pretty excited that something will start showing up. High pressure is pretty much in control for the next couple of days for us. Meanwhile, on the East Coast, we've got 2 tropical storms sort of hunting around. We'll be taking a look at that coming up in just a moment. Back to you.
Mac, thank you. Of the 17 state amendments on the ballot this November, 3 have to do with property taxes. Proposition 10 would create a process to temporarily lower property taxes on homes destroyed by fire. Proposition 11 would let the state raise a homestead exemption from the taxable value of elderly or disabled Texans' homes. Proposition 13 would allow Texans who own their home to see a boost in the state's homestead exemption. The proposal would shave $140,000 off the taxable value of the home instead of the current $100,000. 3 federal judges will decide this week whether Texas can use its new congressional map in the 2026 election. It's the first legal challenge to districts drawn during special sessions this summer. Lawmakers designed the map to add 5 Republican seats to the GOP's U.S. House majority. Critics argued the mid-decade redistricting violates the Constitution. The 9-day hearing begins Wednesday in El Paso. The candidate filing deadline is December 8th.
Anti-DEI crusader Sid Miller urged UT to enroll a student emphasizing her race and socioeconomic status. To read this full Texas Tribune article, come to crossroadstoday.com. A brief court hearing today for 22-year-old Tyler Robinson, who's accused of killing Charlie Kirk on the Utah Valley University campus. Both sides agreed to work through what prosecutors called a voluminous amount of evidence. Robinson did not appear in court, joining instead from the Utah County Jail. Defense attorneys requested another waiver hearing before the preliminary hearing, now scheduled for October 30th. Robinson faces multiple felony charges, including aggravated murder, and prosecutors say they plan to seek the death penalty. 4 people are dead and 8 others hurt in an attack at a church in Grand Blanc, Michigan. The suspect died in a shootout with police, and authorities are now working to determine a motive.
As ABC's Rena Roy reports, the police chief today called it an evil act of violence.
An urgent investigation underway after this deadly attack in Michigan.
We have lots of questions. How could this happen? What created this moment? Why?
Authorities say 40-year-old Thomas Jacob Sanford, a Marine and Iraq War veteran, rammed his truck into the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in the township of Grand Blanc just before 10:30 a.m. Sunday, then opened fire with an assault rifle and set the building on fire. Improvised explosive devices also found at the scene. The ATF now looking at those devices as investigators try to piece together the clues. The church a total loss.
Our church is gone. I joined the church 38 years ago. To see somebody would do this to my church.
Hundreds of congregants inside for Sunday service as the attack unfolded, some jumping in to help.
Those on the scene were absolute heroes, going in and out of the fire to drag people out, helping each other take care of the victims on the scene.
4 people dead, 8 others injured. The suspect killed in a shootout with police. The FBI calling this a targeted act of violence, but saying the motive is still unclear.
Evil. This was an evil
act of violence.
President Trump over the weekend writing on social media calling for the, quote, epidemic of violence in our country to end. White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt speaking on Fox News today.
Based on my conversations with the FBI director, all they know right now is this was an individual who hated people of the Mormon faith.
The governor urging people to avoid speculation as this investigation continues.
Speculation is unhelpful and it can be downright dangerous. So just ask that people lower the temperature of rhetoric.
The FBI is leading this investigation, saying that agents worked through the night, following up on more than 100 leads from members of the public. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. Stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 6, your government services could stop this week. The critical negotiations underway right now.
Also ahead, Trump and Netanyahu discuss ending the war in Gaza.
It is down to the wire in Washington again, and Democrats face a new wrinkle against the federal funding deadline as the White House threatens mass layoffs across the government workforce.
Karen Caifa has the latest on the countdown from Washington.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt Monday ahead of a scheduled meeting between President Donald Trump and congressional leaders from both parties that Trump postponed last week.
We want the government to stay open. The president is giving Democrats one last chance to be reasonable today.
Despite Republicans controlling both chambers of Congress, Democrats do have some leverage in the Senate, where Republicans hold 53 seats but need 60 votes to clear a measure. Democrats are demanding an extension of Affordable Care Act health care subsidies for millions of Americans set to expire at the end of the calendar year in exchange for their support.
We've said from the beginning that we're willing to find a bipartisan path forward, and our line in the sand is the bill has to help everyday Americans, not hurt everyday Americans.
Republican leaders say that debate can wait.
You don't hold the people hostage for their services to allow yourself political cover, and that's what Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries are doing right now.
Democrats say Republicans had plenty of time to negotiate with them before this week.
They have the White House, the House, and the Senate. They've had plenty of months to put forward legislation where they could work with us to get this passed. They waited till the very last minute.
Meanwhile, in an effort to further pressure Democrats, the White House Budget Office has directed federal agencies to draw up plans for potentially permanent cuts to the federal workforce if the government shuts down this week. In Washington, I'm Karen Caifa.
Oregon is pushing back against President Trump's plan to send federal troops to Portland. State attorneys filed an emergency motion Monday to block the deployment, calling it an attempt to militarize sanctuary cities. The move follows a memo announcing 200 Oregon National Guard troops would be federalized for 60 days. Oregon and Portland officials say the city is calm and can handle public safety, while the White House says troops are needed to protect ICE facilities.
President Trump met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the White House today, and following their sit-down meeting, President Trump said they were, quote, beyond very close, unquote, to a peace deal in Gaza.
This comes as Israel has grown increasingly isolated on the world stage due to backlash over the war. Julia Benbrook has the key takeaways from today's meeting.
Ahead of this visit, the Trump administration voiced optimism about resolving the conflict. Just a few days ago, President Donald Trump said that he believed they were, quote, very close to a deal. And a few days before that, his envoy said that a breakthrough was possible. Trump welcomed Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to the White House on Monday to discuss a potential Gaza peace plan. The two held a bilateral meeting followed by a joint press conference.
I support your plan to end the war in Gaza.
The Trump administration is pushing a 20-point Gaza peace plan that calls for all hostages held by Hamas to be released within 72 hours of an agreement and sets out a roadmap for Gaza once the war ends.
If Hamas rejects the deal, which is always possible, they're the only one left. Everyone else has accepted it. But I have a feeling that we're going to have a positive answer. But if not, as you know, Bibi, you'd have our full backing to do what you would have to do.
The plan does not indicate the U.S. would support the creation of a Palestinian state, but recognizes it as an aspiration of the Palestinians. In recent days, several countries, including the UK, France, and Canada, have formally recognized a Palestinian state. Trump has said that he believes that move is counterproductive, and Netanyahu has made it clear he strongly opposes that idea. At the White House, I'm Julia Benbrook.
A Tidehaven ISD campus was named one of 28 schools across the state during the 2025 Lone Star Ribbon Award. The honor recognizes schools with strong academics and real progress in closing government gaps. Governor Abbott says these awards highlight the teamwork of teachers, staff, and parents helping Texas students excel. The winner, Markham Elementary at Tidehaven ISD, for leading the way in student success.
It is time for Lavaca County students to show their creativity. The Elections Department is hosting its second I Voted and Future Voter sticker design contest. It's open to all pre-K through 12th grade students, public, private, or homeschool in Lavaca County. Winning designs will become the official stickers for the 2026-2027 elections. Judges will pick winners based on theme, originality, and artistry, and the designs must be nonpartisan.
It means a lot because that means that they're learning about voting. They know that eventually they'll get to come see us here one day voting as soon as they turn 18. But we want to make sure that they understand what the process is and the fact that it involves the students.
The deadline to submit entries is 5 p.m. on October 31st. Winners will be announced at the November 10th Commissioners Court meeting. More information and entry forms are on the Lavaca County Elections website.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's down to 89 degrees. We were topped out at 90 all day long. We had abundant sunshine. The morning was nice, but it's just a little warm in the afternoons. Our high temperature is actually 2 degrees above our seasonal average. So, yes, we're running temperatures above where they should be. We won't be needing a sweater this week. I'll take a look at your 7-day forecast and all that tropical activity off the East Coast. All that coming up in just a moment. Well, I hope you had a good weekend. I just know that this week we're not going to be going into the closet, pulling it out, any sweaters, because I know it's going to be October in a couple of days, but I just don't see anything cooler through about 7 days, maybe more. Today, high pressure is in charge of everything. That's why we're getting a very gentle northeast wind, and that keeps the dry weather here. So it's nice and cool in the morning. It's comfortable. But then it gets pretty hot in the afternoons. We'll be in the 90s. A little bit of cloud cover out in far west Texas, but that's basically going to go almost due north, so it's really not coming in our direction. The west coast, well, this area of low pressure is encouraging that moisture to drift northward, as you see right there. Another Pacific storm, that's good news for the west coast. But the east coast, boy, I tell you, they have to watch it out very carefully, and they have to hope for a lot of luck to not get any kind of landfall. Humberto is at 140 miles an hour right now. It is a monster, yet it's not anywhere close to any of the major islands. I mean, sure, the Caribbean and the Bahamas are getting some rough seas and some cloud cover, but the storm is forecast to move out over the ocean water, and no major problem there. Then we have Imelda. We promised Imelda for you last week. Here it is. It is about 200 miles off the coast, and the storm winds, as you can see, are 65 miles an hour. This could become a hurricane by tomorrow, but the good news is the path of it just basically takes it to the east, which will be away from land and which will be good. Nonetheless, places like the Carolinas and upper Florida or northern Florida are under the gun for some heavy rain, as you can see right about here. Now remember, this is rotating in this fashion, so the moisture is going that way. And of course, here in eastern, the Appalachian Mountains, as you know, the eastern mountains, they're going to get some rain. Now, at this point in time, I don't think it's going to be a flood situation. Nonetheless, it's not going to be clear and blue, so they're going to have to watch out very carefully. And obviously, there's going to be a lot of beach erosion from Daytona Beach northward all the way to probably North Carolina as well. All kinds of flood advisories for rough seas up and down the coast right about there. But again, both of these storms are moving away from land, so that's going to be helpful for them, because a direct hit would not be good for the Carolinas, as we saw from last year. We are looking at tomorrow morning, a fairly comfortable low temperature, getting down to about 65 degrees. I think the morning will be nice and clear. You'll see a few little bitty clouds, but nothing significant. We will get up into the 90s, so it's abundant sunshine basically coming in our direction. Future tracker, this stuff here out in West Texas may drift over our area, but pressure is so high, nothing's going to come out of that. So we're on the quiet side of a lot of things all the way through the end of this week. So tomorrow, nice in the morning in Port Lavaca, and then partly cloudy in the afternoon. We're looking for a high of about 93. In Cuero, well, you're getting up to a 95, and you'll see abundant sunshine, just a little bit of cloud cover. 7-day forecast, the dry air is with us for about 2 or 3.5 more days. And then by the time we get to Friday, we're going to start seeing a lot more cloud cover and the possibility of 1 or 2 of those little afternoon showers. But these temperatures, okay, they're not exactly October-like, but we'll just hope for the best, okay? That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. Scan that and put Crossroads Today on your phone. And here's Shauna.
All right, we know eventually the cooler temperatures will get here. We are just now learning about an arrest of a 13-year-old student from Howell Middle School today. Law enforcement says that school staff was notified that that a student had a BB gun in his backpack. They say the student knowingly brought the BB gun on campus, and luckily nobody was hurt, and no threats were made or anything like that. But we'll continue to follow up on this and have the information posted on our website. Now let's send it over to Mac Williams for our sports. Max.
Yes, Shauna, we're halfway through here, the high school football season. We've had some spectacular plays so far. So after the break, we're at Weekend Sports Anchor Ray Robinson here to reveal our top 5 plays through halfway through the high school football season. So stay right there. Everyone, we are officially halfway through the high school football season. We've had some high energy, some surprises, a couple upsets here for halfway through the season, but there's been one thing for certain, though. We've had a lot of immense talent and some highlight reel plays all across the Crossroads. And now, 25 News Now weekend sports anchor Ray Robinson is here to break it all down. So, Ray?
Max, thank you. And I know it's Monday, but let's bring in some weekend flavor with some of the CFL's biggest plays halfway through the season so far. And this time, instead of doing 3, we're going to be going over 5 top plays halfway through the season. And your top 5 play that's making the list was a play that wasn't ruled as a touchdown, but when talking about the Tidehaven Tigers, they still find ways to win and have competent runners. In the big Week 4 matchup against Ganado, Tidehaven's TJ Galvin takes this punt and makes a long run to the end zone, and the ruling was an illegal block, which led the play to being overturned, but still the effort was on full display. And another potential state team that's on a hot start is the Cuero Gobblers. And this is a team that's got the tools all across the field. Great rushing game. But let's talk about the passing game, too, because it's on lock as well, especially if you got a guy like Walker Dietz on your team making an impressive catch just like this, securing the first down and doing it all in style. And on to the top 3 plays halfway through the season. Let's talk about Yoakum's Jace Morales. The famous DeWitt County game saw Yoakum's first score of the game come in a major way, as he just finds space to the left, and you practically see him just picking up speed, gradually getting downfield for a bulldog touchdown. And there you see Xavier Barnett blocking and guiding him down there in some company for a touchdown. And your top 2 play in the first half of the season go to Victoria East, Dedrick Callis. The Battle of the Boot had its share of bright spots, and in an effort to keep the Titans in the game, Callis on the quarterback keeper rushes it in, all while completing a hurdle over a West defender, dunking the ball into the end zone for a Titan touchdown. All right, and your top play of the half season goes to Edna's Keegan Hicks. The kickoff play might be one we'll be talking about for a while, and what followed after that was a simple handoff to Keegan Hicks. Saw nothing but space and opportunity, also turning up the field, turning up the speed for an Edna Cowboys touchdown. So a big congrats to Keegan Hicks for being our top play halfway through the season. See you back here on the weekend for the top 3 plays in Week 6.
All right, thanks, Ray. What a big-time play we had there, right? The return there for Keegan Hicks. And also, Dedrick Callis, I don't know, Ray. I thought it was a little bit close. Kind of a battle there, that battle between East and West there for that one. But we got a lot of big-time matches, though, that we're going to talk about, though. From our top plays now to our game of the week here. For Week 6, we had the Bloomington Bobcats, who are 4-1 overall, hosting the Latonia Bulldogs at 3-2. Bloomington has surpassed their win total from last season after the win 3-7, have relied on an established run game with Aiden Gardner and their quarterback, Brian Clay. He's been an X factor as well this season. They look to start up 2-0 in district there for Bloomington against Latonia, who lost last week to Top Rank Ganado 46-0, and they're hoping to bounce back here this week. And it takes us here to tonight's sports viewer poll, where I asked everyone here in Week 6, which game are you most intrigued to watch right now? We got Latonia and Bloomington, which is our game of the week. Kennedy versus Ganado, Yoakum versus Blanco, Victoria West versus Tybee, or other. And right now, a lot of you still picking the Victoria West and Tybee. I mean, I don't blame you, because that's going to be 5-0 there, Victoria West, and Tybee 4-1 overall. But again, a lot of other good matchups, 4-1 Yoakum Blanco. It's going to be still a very good Week 6 to look out for here starting this week. That's going to do it here in sports. Don, Shauna, back to you.
Max, thank you, and we're back in a moment. A mysterious sign of inspiration can be found on a street corner in New York State. Tonight, if you take a drive down a road in New York State, you will find a ray of sunshine inscribed on an old chalkboard. The message changes every day, but few know who was behind it or why the campaign of positivity began. More and more people are taking notice. It has even spurred messages of appreciation on social media, with some even posting photos of the daily affirmations. So touched by the uplifting messages, people leave gifts and cards and signs of their own, giving thanks. We need to find out who did that. That way we can chalk it up to that person and get it there.
Some people may drive by and say, what is that green thing? You don't see chalkboards anymore.
We have a famous restaurant in Austin that has billboards that does that too, but it's positivity messages. And so, hey,
it's a good idea.
I think we all need it.
It's great. Everyone wants to drive by and see what the message is for the day.
That's right. Have a marvelous, magical Monday. How about that? All right. Folks, we've got a pretty good looking week ahead of us. Dry air will be with us for at least 3 more days. By the time we get to Thursday night into Friday, we'll start picking up some of that Gulf moisture. And you'll see more cloud cover, but by and large, though, through the beginning of October, we're staying in the 90s as high temperatures.
Thank you, Max, and thanks for joining us.
We'll see you tonight after the game.